Perfect. Thank you, Tonito. Hello. Hello, good morning, and welcome to the panel discussion. Struvite production as a solution for waste management, future challenges. I am Javier Ruiz from Fundación Global Nature, and I am very happy to be here and moderate this section of the final conference. The aim of this section is to discuss with our expert guests how the production of Struvite can be a solution for the management of livestock manure and how the management of this type of waste can be approached in the future after the launch of the Real Life Waste project. First of all, I would like to introduce you the invited guests or experts who are also members of the Real Life Waste project consortium. I start with Juan Carlos Segura Ruiz, head of R&D at the ALIA Business Organization, is located in Lorca, Murcia, Spain, and it's made up of the social fabric of more than 250 cattle families. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, good. From over the Spanish Southeast. Manuel Moreno, industrial engineer by the Technical University of Cartagena, Murcia, Spain, working in the Energy and Innovation Department of Eurovertice Consultores, SL, from 2017. And he works in projects related to circular economy, innovation, mobility, energy, and environmental issues. And he has a wide experience and participation in European funded projects. And currently, he is working with ALIA as external expert in Real Life Waste project. Dr. Maria Antoniou from Kut, Cyprus, you met her before in the other section, is an assistant professor at the Department of the Chemical Engineer of the Cyprus University of Technology, and her research was funded from national and international funds. Since February 2018, she serves as a lead partner from Cyprus for the Interact Med program Real Life Waste, and she is in charge of the BP3, which involves testing and running of the pilot plants. The next guest is Emir Dzumba from University of Sarajevo, Bosnia-Herzegovina. He's professor from the Faculty of Agriculture and Food Sciences at the University of Sarajevo. In Real Life Waste project, he is mainly charged in chemical characterization and substrates, as well as the aerodynamic testing. And finally, I introduce to you to Luca Poletti from Sereco, Italy, the technical director of Sereco Biotest, the partnered company in charge of the scientific and technology activities carried out within the implementation of the Struvite production plants. We know the different participants of this roundtable, and we are going to give way to the intervention of this expert. Please keep to the time limit, no more than 5 minutes per intervention, and I will ask each of you a few questions that I would like to you answer. If it's all right with you, we start with, for example, Dr. Maria Antoniou's opinion. Maria, I want to ask you, please, we would like to know your opinion on how you think it will be the most viable way to establish this type of technology and ensure its success and sustainability. If you want to answer this, please, I give you the floor.
Okay, thank you, Javi, for the introduction. And it's nice seeing everyone, even through the screens. It's been a long time since we last met in Cyprus, and it's a shame that Corona is not letting us do this. But then again, if you consider that we are opening up to a broader audience in this way, then maybe we're doing the best thing out of the situation. So let me just by saying that I guess it will depend on the type of situation that you are. So for example, I would say that in our case, where we were treating anaerobically treated effluents, the best thing is to sort of find a facility that does that. And then if they invest in adding the next steps into the process, it will be more economically viable. It will be easier to do a turnover. And then you have better chances of producing a product that can be universally accepted. As you all know, when we first started this project back in 2018, there was a much different regulation when it came to these sort of fertilizers. Actually, there wasn't really a set framework for Struvite. You have countries like China and the US that are selling this product. If you look at a little bit the specification of these companies, you will see that it stems from wastewater, which is much easier, airborne wastewater, than what we are trying to achieve. We have a much loaded and much more difficult raw material to start with than having to deal with wastewater. But I would say that where it's feasible, just work with companies that already have the infrastructure. So they have the first part of the process. They're giving you a cleaner effluent to work with. And then it's easier for them to see the benefits into going through a product. But it's really important to know that now we're dealing with a new regulation, that it's very strict. So we are having new stepping stones that we need to reach so that this product can be out into the market. And I did have a talk about this new regulation. I guess we'll go over this in tomorrow, where we're going to have also different experts discussing this. We have an officer from the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Emmanuel Zacharias, who is actually the representative of Cyprus in Brussels for fertilizers. And there is some thoughts of way that we can pivot around this new regulation and have different products of Struvite being set. So that's from my end. I would say collaborate with current business, so it's easier. And then instead of having every little farm doing it on its own, then perhaps it will be a much better solution to sort of do things collectively.
Very good. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Well, I continue with my next question, taking advance of the fact that we have representative of ALIA, Juan Carlos Segura and Manuel Moreno, here at the final conference. And first of all, I would like to know what pre-treatment has been carried out of the slurry use in the pilot plant in Spain. And Juan Carlos, could you tell us something about this pre-treatment, please?
Hola, muy buenas. Sorry.
Hola, Juan Carlos. No problem.
Un momento.
No problem, no problem. We are on time.
Quedo sin batería.
Okay.
Nada, pero es un medio segundo nada más.
Okay, 1 second, no problem.
Ya está todo.
Perfecto.
Ya está.
Okay, Juan
bueno,
Carlos,
pues muchas gracias a todos y encantado de volver a veros en esta reunión final. Es una lástima que no sea presencial porque habíamos hecho un gran equipo, todas las organizaciones, y la verdad es que nos llevábamos muy bien y humanamente ha sido un placer el haberos conocido y coincidido en este proyecto. Dicho esto, para dar respuesta a la pregunta planteada por Javier, nuestro pretratamiento de los purines que hemos hecho en la granja de Alia ha consistido en implantar un equipamiento de separación de fases con un tamiz de doble malla, en la cual hemos hecho una separación muy fina de la fracción sólida, y hemos implantado también
we have some problems with the connection. Juan Carlos, I think that I can't hear you. Vale, nadie le escucha. Tonito? No, no?
Yes, I guess he also had connection problems. So maybe we can move to the next one and then go back to him. Yeah.
Perfect.
Can I just add something into what Juan Carlos was trying to say with the pre-treatment? Since we have, this is what we did here in Cyprus. This is where we invested a lot into the pre-treatment. So, and this is where actually it connects to the fact that we use, we did have a farm there that was anaerobically treating a mixed waste. And we did use it also as a source. So we did experiments with 100% pig layers, but we also used the anaerobically treated effluent from Armenis. So what we saw is that, and this is where it connects with my previous question, that by investing into having the filtering system, first it was the filter packs and then putting the ceramic membranes, it wasn't a big investment and we had huge benefits. It removed a lot of the solids, it removed the pathogens, heavy metals, like we had full compliance and we ended up with a much higher quality product at the end. And this is something that we all in our discussions that we had was like, try to remove as much of the solid content so then you can have a better product at the end that would be priced as a higher value. And then it will have all the benefits that we discussed of Struvite. So yes, I totally agree with the pre-treatment part. And hopefully that gave enough time to get our connectivity back. No? Sorry, I tried.
Those are nice communication strategies.
It was smooth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Javier, yes.
Juan Carlos,
let's go on, yes.
Okay. Pues Maria tell us about the pre-treatment, and now we can speak with Manuel Moreno, and I would like to know your opinion. And do you think it will be possible to implement this type of technology in macro farms, for example, for pigs? Will it be necessary to improve the pre-treatment technology, for example? You know that this is important. Manuel,
yes.
I give you the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Javier. And also thank you to the rest of the partners for this very interesting final conference. And well, answering your question, yes. Well, I think that absolutely. During the whole project, we have been checking and we have seen that the production of Struvite is one feasible solution that could be adopted not only in macro or micro farms, but in different kind of farms. And I think that, well, in our case, in Alia, we have a medium-sized pig farm, and we have not included directly the Struvite precipitation plant directly in there, as it was installed in Segorbe. However, I think that for sure it would fit perfectly in such kind of farms. I think that not only in our region, but in different regions across Europe. I think that one important aspect that helps us to install the plant in different places is the scalability that this solution, that our solution offers. I think that we have been working in different contexts, and in each part of our project and in each different pilot plant, different adaptations were required. And I think that this possibility for the scalability of our solution is also important and has to be communicated, and it is essential and made it possible to install the plant in different contexts. Regarding the pre-treatment, and I totally agree with what Maria was telling, and this is the thing that Juan Carlos wanted to explain. I think that, well, in our case, we have installed a very high technology pre-treatment process, and this helped us to separate the solid and liquid fraction and to remove a lot of pollutant in our slurry. So we achieved a refined slurry, and this was very important, not only for the next step of the Struvite production, but also it is a solution itself. I think that it for sure helps the Struvite production to have this better pre-treatment. However, I think that as well that it is not mandatory to have the most efficient one in the market, but it would help the whole process. And in addition to that, I think that this separation of the liquid and solid fraction and this pre-treatment with a high technological equipment, it is a solution itself. I mean, if you can remove a lot of pollutant and a lot of nitrate charge and phosphorus charge of the slurry, it make it possible to farmers to manage their waste in an efficient solution, in an efficient way. And in summary, I think that regarding this waste management, it is always important to tailor the solution to each and in each specific context. I mean, there are lots of, or at least there are several possible solutions for the farm waste management and the slurry management. However, its application totally differs on the different contexts on the different farms. If a macro farm has enough capacity to invest in an Struvite precipitation plant, it can be a perfect way for farmers to manage their waste. If not, they can maybe stay in the previous process, I mean, in this high-tech pre-treatment. But if they have the possibility and they have enough power to invest in a Struvite precipitation plant, it is a perfect way of manage this slurry by adding value to their process and also closing the loop and foster circular economy. I think that this is something really important and really optimal for them, and it is also important to communicate to the different involved actors.
Okay. Thank you, Manuel. Okay, Manuel has already given us a little bit of our preview what we are going to talk about with the next guest. Emir Tomba, my next question is for you. Emir, do you think it is important in order to ensure the success of this type of technology to take into account the different casuistry of each farm region, and it is necessary to establish different solutions that are adapted to each farmer of region? What do you think about this? I give the floor for you.
Okay, thank you, Javier. First of all, good afternoon, everybody, and it's my pleasure to be part of this team and to take part in this final conference. Regarding your question, my answer will be in line with Moreno and especially with Maria's speech, because of I think that after we have done all testing in pilot plants. We faced with the issue of regarding to Struvite production efficiency, or more precisely regarding to Struvite purity. And I think that is mainly depend on supply characteristics which led in the process of Struvite formation, and because it is well known that is like let's say high concentration of calcium, high concentration of iron, high suspended solids in substrate can interfere process of crystallization in substrate. in line with this, and it is very close. This aspect is, I think that is important aspect is skillfulness of integrative approach in manure management in each country, farm, so on, because concretely characteristics of manure management in Bosnia is using a raw manure. Our pilot plants is using raw manure in Struvite production, in Struvite production, sorry. And I think that this type of substrate pose greater risk for Struvite production efficiency than using anaerobic digestate wastewater, because during the anaerobic processes, concentration of phosphorus significantly increase in the substrate. In such a condition, I think that we should consider using the other treatments of our substrates, like composting, like anaerobic digestate digestion, like using membranes to diffuse unwanted cations in the substrate, as Maria used at Cyprus, and so on. I think, and generally my conclusion is that each case study, each country, each farm should consider using some additional pre-treatments of substrate depending on the characteristics of manure of substrates which used in the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Emir. Finally, I have other question. We would like to hear from Luca Poletti about what technological improvement will need to be made to make this type of technology viable at farm scale. Luca, I give you the floor, please.
Okay. Hello, Javier.
Hello.
Hello, nice to see you. Yes, we can say that some improvements are certainly to be made in the 3 plants that we have been dealing with. I'm talking about the plants in Bosnia, Spain, and Sardinia, because it's true that they have proved to be good demonstrators of the Struvite precipitation process. But if we envisage for them a farm scale application, I think that further upgrade in terms of both technological equipment and dimension are needed. So I think that if we want to fill the technical gap that the constructed plant have with the full equipped concept of the Struvite precipitation plant, it's necessary to implement some enhancements, some improvements that I can give you now very shortly. So for Spain, I think that it should be necessary to add an adequate sensoring system that would allow a more effective and real-time control of the process. For Bosnia, I think that we should add a settling unit that would allow better separation liquid-solid, so to allow the Struvite, solid Struvite, to better separate from the liquid stream. And also, I would suggest to add an automated dewatering unit. So, for example, a pressurized filtering bag to accelerate to make the dewatering of the struvite easier and faster. The same I would suggest for Sardinia, because it lacks, actually the plant lacks of an automated dewatering unit. So for me the pressurized filtering back is the best option. In all cases, anyway, I would suggest the following improvements. For example, to add a PLC, a programmable logic controller unit that would enable a more effective control of the process. Also, it would be nice to see advanced design high heat crystallizator put in place that would bring about the possibility of enabling a real crystal design. So to orientate the size and the morphology and the quantity of crystals in a more effective way. Of course, we should scale up the dimensions because all the plants were in a small scale. So if you want to satisfy the requirements of a real farm, we should scale up the dimensions of the plants as well. And last but not least, I would seriously look out for means to make the process as cost effective as possible. Because the reagents that we've been using are of industrial origin, and that causes a significant impact in terms of cost. So if we envisage a future development of the research, I would focus on finding alternative sources for magnesium and phosphorus. So, for example, and Giovanni Ragaias mentioned it before in his presentation. For example, alternative sources of magnesium would be, for example, the beton or magnesite from dismissed quarries. For phosphorus, a very nice option would be to use animal bones or slags from Thompson process. So I think that we should strive to try to integrate the Struvite precipitation process, that is recirculation process, with all the other recirculation processes from other waste streams. So to bring about a sort of meta-circularization of processes, that is to intersect, to put together Struvite precipitation with other circularization processes that can provide our process with other byproducts, and this would certainly help to make the Struvite precipitation process more cost effective. So I would say that in reply to your question.
Sorry. Okay. Thank Luca. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, with Luca, we end this roundtable. We are running a little behind schedule, and thank you for keeping to the timetable, and thank you for your interventions. It has been very interesting to know your opinion of each one of you, and thank you for attending. We wait for you at 3 o'clock in the next part of this final conference. Thank you.
Yeah.